A Durban man was set free after being accused of raping a teenage girl. The circumstances over his release are being questioned. Lazi magistrate set him free because he, this is what she said, carried a bag, styled his hair and did washing. The magistrate concluded he must be gay and not interested in women. Judges Matter Coordinator Alison Tilley joins us for reaction to this. Very good morning to you, Alison. I mean, what's your response to this damaging, horrific kind of commentary on the alleged rapist?
Well, there have been a number of cases out of that court decided by that magistrate which are problematic, and the issue certainly has been raised with the Magistrates Commission. We would be of the understanding that the next steps for the Magistrates Commission would be to investigate, and in order to do that they would probably also need to suspend the magistrate concerned.
Now, this has been overturned along with 2 other rulings. 18 cases have been sent for judicial review. The question is, why is she still in that position?
Well, I think that is a question that has to be asked. My understanding is that the Magistrates Commission have been looking into the matter, but the concern is that as the days go by and as matters are heard in that court, there may well be other problematic decisions that are being made. So the Commission should certainly be stepping in sooner rather than later.
What are they saying to you, though? I mean, how can you justify this? I mean, she must just step down, go away, let the investigation continue with her away from her job. As you say, the damage that she can cause is sublime.
The process for suspension of magistrates is not necessarily the same as an ordinary employee. So you can't just, do it without reference to Parliament. And the intention there is to preserve the integrity and independence of the judiciary. So you can't just take a magistrate out of play. But there are processes that are laid out, and the Magistrates Commission is very familiar with taking those steps. The hearing in Parliament would allow for suspension, and then the inquiry would take place, and then again, once a decision had been made, it would go back to Parliament for ratification.
What does this say about our system, about the procedures in place, about the sort of people that we choose to put in such powerful positions? What's going wrong there?
Well, I think we have raised some initial concerns sitting in on some of the interviews for magistrates. It's a very good process, it's a very thorough process, but it has, in our view, been showing up candidates as not knowing enough, particularly about sexual offences. It's one of the reasons why we have specialist sexual offences courts. It's a difficult area of law, and you need specialist prosecutors, specialist magistrates and support staff in order to ensure that these very difficult cases come to trial, that the complainant doesn't suffer from secondary trauma, and that you get a conviction.
When I spoke to you about this, you sat in on several interviews. You were saying that you were concerned that even the sort of basics around sexual offences is not known, and you would think, considering what we're experiencing in this country, that there would be some knowledge of that.
I mean, one must bear in mind this was a small group of people being interviewed as magistrates, and they have not yet been appointed, or those appointments haven't yet been made. But particularly when you're dealing with basic issues around whether a child is a competent witness or not, I mean, that really is something that candidates in front of the Commission should know, particularly given that many of them have been acting in the regional court, which is where you do deal with these kinds of matters.
Alison, very briefly, if you will, how long can this magistrate stay in her job, considering the investigations are underway? What sort of timeline are we looking at here?
Well, the full process for removing a magistrate can take a while, so it can be a year or longer. But the key thing is obviously the suspension. and a suspension could take place very quickly.
Good to talk to you, Alison Tilly. Thanks.